Today I had went and stopped by a Baptist church because the Lord wanted me to go in and talk to them. Plus, it is the oldest Baptist church in New York City, and on top of that, they don't have any men teaching them. They technically have women teaching. Now, there's not a man involved, and a lot of them don't know. So I went in for a Bible study and started speaking. And the funny part is that they sit down and they were talking about, the statues of which ways to pray and what that statue meant when you pray, whether if it be kneeling, standing up, and all this other stuff. I'm just trying to really break this down. When you in the New Testament or even in the Old, I don't remember anything being said of how to pray except for to bow your head and your knees, get down and you pray. And the meaning and the definition. So this is what I'm talking about when people throw in a lot of stuff for confusion. First, you got to know who the people are. Then you got to know the rules and the laws of Yahweh. Then you got to know, all right, the truth. All right, so I want to get into a little bit of the truth of Yahweh. All right, and just like all right, so starting off, 15,000 years ago, there were some bones that they just found that dated back to the M chromosome in Europe. I've talked about this earlier. Now I want to get into the haplogroups. All right, what are the haplogroups? The haplogroups are what your genetics are, where you come from, and how you evolved over time in that area and region of the world where you came from, which basically is your personality and everything that you are. So the M haplogroup is the Bangladesh haplogroup. They're one of the oldest. A lot of people would think Chinese, India, and all that other stuff. No, they're the R1As, the J1As, and the Ds, and some of the other Ds came out of E's, but the E1s and all them came out of the A's. All right. Those are broken off to the East and the West and the Northern Africans. Basically, you will say East and West. All right. Now, the East Coast Africans created the M chromosome. All right. And then from out of that came the R1A, the J1A, and all this other stuff, and then some of the Ds, which we find that are Asian, are the Asians, and the people from India. Now, how did this happen that they were in Europe? Because from out of them evolved other R1As and other J1As. These J1As in that region of Eurasia and top of Europe and Russia and all that stuff over there, those are what you see now today as the Russians, the Ukrainians, the Lithuanians, the Latvians, the all that stuff over there, the Russians. All right, they're Mongolian and the Khazars, and those which are the Jews which you see today. So my question is this: if they keep telling you, the Ashkenazi, that the J chromosome, all right, is part of the Levi tribe, then they try to break it down to the Labemba tribe that they came out of the original J chromosome. But these same J1R chromosomes are found also in a lot of the people from India, the Bangladesh, Chinese, Japanese, and all of the Eurasians and all that other stuff. You do the math on it. That means that everybody up there is part of the Levi tribe. So, and then we got to look at how old each of one of these chromosomes for each culture is. A lot of them are only anywhere from 8 to 10,000 years old, which are like the Ashkenazi and a lot of the Russians and the other European and Asians up in that area. And so are the J chromosomes and the J1 chromosomes. They're not that old. All right. The only J and R1 chromosomes that probably go back like 30,000 or a little bit older are the Asians that they came out of, but they won't tell you this. So do you understand that there's been a big mixing in the land? And I'm only sticking to those, and I just wanted to break down how the haplogroups and all of them work. So technically, if we were reverted back to the Bible, when God said, he scattered them and he did all this other stuff, all right, they scattered. Now, when he said, I shall make them as of apes and elephants, that was a chromosome DNA thing, because now we see the split. We always have the E chromosomes, and there's a very few of the A1 chromosomes, E1A1, or however they call it, because a lot of them didn't match up the M91 chromosome like mine with the E1, so they just called it A1B2, all right, instead of the E1A1B or whatever. So it's right now it's a little thing, whatever. That's another story. But they're sort of in a class of their own. That's why a lot of people, when you break it down, and then one day I'm going to have a chart, and I'm going to show everybody on the chart how everybody breaks down in the regions. Then you have to go all the way back to this Semitic tribe. So the East Africans were the Hametics. This is the reason why we see a lot of mixing up between these same people with these same idealistic ways. That's why if you even look at the Sheba and you go back to the scriptures, it said, I taught the dark. All right, first of all, Eve and Satan had sex. That's Cain. The sign off his head, hair on his head, was straight hair. He was dark-skinned, all right, and probably had straight hair. So, with that, they created their own race. Time went on. Then we see that as the watchers were watching over everything, Satan went and he talked to them. They seen the daughters of men, and what did they do? They fell in love with their hair. So they were the straight hair ones that came out of it, the Bangladesh, Indians, all of them. So those are the Hamites. So when they came out of them, that's when they messed with them. Now you got the Asians that came out of those chromosomes, okay, from out of the clear blue, and then it goes on and on and on. Now on the other side is where you have the mixing, and mysteriously out of these same East Africans, all right, also came out the mysterious the whites that went and fled to the Caucasus Mountains. Not one time do you have any of the Semitic or anything happening with this one E chromosome bloodline, but a lot of people are not seeing that. All right, you only had the mixing of these when the Grecians, the Romans, and all of them started plummeting the land. Now from out of them, you know, with the rape and the plummeting of these villages and these tribes, then you have the other cultures evolving, which you see the Ishmaelites. Now we take those chromosomes, we see the Ishmaelites, we see a mixture between the Grecians and the Semitic black people. Though now if you look at Ishmaelite and what she was, they were basically nomads even in the Bible. So now we revert back down to what they actually were before Ibn Abdullah Muhammad came and woke them up with the angel Gabriel thing. So now you're matching it all up. Now you have the Europeans that have been up here all this time. They're just waking up. How do we match that part up? If you go back to the emerald tablets that I was trying to tell you about that they found in Egypt from King Akhenaten, Satan is actually telling Akhenaten in the tablets how he had to wake up this one little seed and teach them all over again. You notice that the third and give them this and the third. So all of a sudden they had a burst of technology, woke up, came up, started, you know, doing whatever, and then that's when they mixed in. Then you got the European Spanish and all this stuff, and everywhere they went, they were conquering and taking over land and doing all that stuff and publishing and raping. And then what they took from out of what they published and raped, they took with them to Spain and did all this other stuff where you get your Puerto Ricans and your Dominicans, and they came out of that one gene. So this is where everybody's getting everything confused and you're not understanding. Now you gotta look at the characteristics and the traits of what you came from if you ain't been around that long. Now if you want to still be a part of that and you know that was a part of an atrocity or something wrong, then that's you. You can't just sit down and say, hey, I believe, and go about all this other stuff and then wonder why you think the way you think and do the things you do, because you haven't come to a full understanding of what you are. The scriptures tell you, know who you are. If you come from something bad, basically deny that, throw that away, and be reborn of the truth. This is what the truth and the righteousness and the love of God is about. It's about being reborn and one in Him. Those who listen to me and actually do it, I don't care what chromosome and DNA you are, you'll see that you'll become one with Jacob's seed, and that does not hold no bars over you anymore. This is what I'm talking about. These are the haplogroups and how they get broken down. So the whole world is one big mystery and a mixture. But until we focus on the will of God, then things will open up and you'll start to see. That's where we get into the renewing of the mind and conscience, because that's the only way that you can tell if somebody has changed and who they are, by the walk of the faith and the things that they do and the words that they speak.